What's it like sharing a home with another plant enthusiast? It's not easy. Let me tell you that. It's not easy. Hello everyone, welcome to my jungle story. I'm Jacqueline and today I'm going to be talking about what it's like to share a home, share space with another plant enthusiast. I would encourage you to leave a comment down below if you are in the same situation as me, if you also have to share space, share a home with another plant enthusiast. I'm always very eager to hear other people's stories and how they cope and manage and kind of share space. In our situation, it is definitely not equal. I take up a lot more space than Mitch does, but I'm going to tell you all about that and kind of the situation of how he got into plants, how I got into plants, and yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, so I thought I would start off by saying how Mitch has always really been into plants. He was actually the one who got me into plants. When we first got together, I was very much a Netflix indoor kind of girl. It was very hard even in the summer to kind of get me outdoors. But when we first got together, we got together in the spring it was almost summer. And he was always in the garden, and our dates kind of became going to the garden center, and that's how I got into that world. And I've always really loved having plants in my home. I always had plants in my bedroom and anything like that. Like I remember whenever I went to the IKEA or something like that for something for my bedroom, I would always like buy a plant there because I knew they were like easier, the ones that they kept there. But I always had plants in my home, in my bedroom, when I was still living at my parents' house, and when we moved together I also just always had plants. But I was never really into like the garden, even though my mom has always really been into the garden and been into plants, so I've always had plants in my life. But with Mitch, he is really into the garden. Like he has his own vegetable garden, he's into like all the beautiful flowering plants, and yeah, I remember, I'll see if I can actually find a picture of what we did when we first moved in together, of like this cute little corner that we made with like all plants around us. And yeah, I very, very quickly got into just plants in general, indoor and outdoor. And he kind of wasn't really into indoor plants then. I feel like I can say, yeah, he wasn't really into indoor plants then. It was more me that would go to the garden center and kind of come home with plants. Not really anything overboard. I would definitely spend more time in the outdoor garden section than I did in the indoor, but that was just due to Mitch. So he was never really into indoor plants. He liked them, he appreciated them, but he wouldn't like specifically go out and buy indoor plants. So he really got into indoor plants when I got into indoor plants, and I got into plants, specifically indoor plants, when I was pregnant with my firstborn, with my son. I was in the second trimester. It was the beginning of the second trimester, and I was really, really getting into it and all that. But if you want to know more about that, I do explain that a little bit more in my first houseplant tour about how I got into plants. But just to quickly brief, I was going into my second trimester. I was starting to feel better because I really struggled in the first trimester. And that's also when I got my first IKEA greenhouse cabinets. I got the Rudster, and I started like doing more research about like more rarer plants then. And yeah, I just kind of dived into the world. And before I knew it, I was specifically driving out to this garden center to get a variegated monstera and yeah, all of that stuff. And Mitch also then got into plants. I think the first plants that really caught his eye was anthuriums. He loved anthuriums, and of course, how can you not love anthuriums? But yes, it just kind of, that's how it happened and how it evolved. And I think soon after I got my big, like my Millsbo tall IKEA cabinet, he also wanted a he also wanted his one. And just the way that our layout works, it was just easier to get like the wide one. Even though he also was thinking about getting a tall one, but we have a very small house, so it's kind of really a puzzle to kind of figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. And if we didn't get the wide, I don't think we would have, I don't know, it would just be a little bit more difficult to position plants. So a couple of months after I got the Millsbo Tall, which I remember, the Millsbo Tall was actually my push present with my daughter, with my second. Soon after that, he got his one. He started getting into more plants. He definitely gets into plants when it's like the colder period, like fall, winter. That's when he'll really dive more into the indoor plants. So he doesn't really take a break, but he definitely has a little bit more of a harder time to manage the plants outside and inside. So, I mean, I always keep a really close eye on his collection, just because I know that, even just last week I had to treat his cabinet for thrips. So it's I do keep an eye on his plants. I don't just let him do his thing and say, fend for yourself and whatever. I do keep an eye on them, because otherwise I don't think his collection would look as good as it does, just because of the times that he would forget to water. And also Mitch works full time, so that also makes it very, very difficult being on top of the garden and being on top of the indoor plants. So I help him out with that 100%. But it is, it's a struggle for him. It definitely is. Like right now I can see we're fall right now, that he's still not quite dived into his plants again. We did a couple of weeks ago have a full day of plant care, and we took care of propagations. He took care of his whole corner. Like all of this behind me is not all of them are his plants, but I will give you a tour of Mitch's plants at the end, so you can really see. But I still see as all of the plants in our home as a joint, just one big collection. So when I do like a house plant tour, I do include his plants, because I also still take care of his plants. I do look at them. I only really do anything with them when he asks me to. Otherwise, I will either tell him, hey, they need water, or if I tell him and I notice a couple, like the day after or 2 days later, that he still hasn't done it, it means he's forgotten it, and I will just do it for him, and I will tell him that I've done it. That's kind of how we communicate with it. Whereas before, I took over, but we'll get more into that in a minute. But yes, it's kind of it's just a bit of like a juggling act. And right now there's less work to do in the garden, so he's paying a little bit more attention to his plants, his corner, but it's still difficult because he does work full time, and we also have 2 young kids. We have a son of over 2 years old and a daughter who's 1 year old. So yeah, we have them very close together. So it's hard to manage, and a lot of the stuff happens when they're napping or at nighttime when they've gone to bed. So it is definitely a juggling act, and I have to say I'm pretty proud of the collection that we have, and that it does look good considering that we have so much work with 2 young kids. So yes, it's kind of a little bit of a help each other out. Well, Mitch doesn't really look at my plants. If he does see, like if he notices something and he might not know that I've looked at it, or we'll communicate with each other and say, hey, have you seen this on this plant? Hey, have you seen, this is going on, or this plant really needs water? We'll kind of help each other out there, but I definitely help him out with his plants. It's not just a kind of fend for yourself thing. Going on to managing the space with 2, we did in the beginning Mitch had his corner with all of his plants, and he knew that he just needed to look at that corner, and that was it. But plants, specifically the plants on the moss poles, they started growing, they started getting bigger, they started, taking up a lot more space. And I ended up having to do a lot of rearranging, and I would always tell him and communicate with him, but it's not as if I would say, hey, can I move this plant to there? I kind of just did it and told him about it. And I did at a certain point just kind of take over, because I saw that his interest was just kind of going downhill. especially when it starts getting pretty busy, like in the garden. We have a very, very big garden, and our garden is also very, very tropical. We have a lot of banana plants. We have a lot of like tropical plants that need tending to, specifically also in the winter. They need to be covered up or they'll just die. We also have a very, very big terrace that we also like to fill with plants. It's just, yeah. And we also have a very big vegetable garden. We have chickens. It's a very, very big garden. I think in total it's like 80, I think it was 80 or 90 meters long. It's a very, very long garden, and it's quite narrow. I think it's only like 8 or 9 meters in width. So yeah, it's quite a narrow one. But yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and we are still not on top of it. We've been living here for 6 years now, I think, and we are still not on top of it because it is so big, and because obviously with kids and the last 2 years, this is the first summer in 2 years that I've been able to help, because the other two I was pregnant, because we have summer babies, and being heavily pregnant and doing garden work, I did definitely try, but it was not easy. So Mitch kind of has been having to do it all himself, and honestly, I got to give him a good tap on the shoulder, because I don't say it enough, but it's a lot of hard work. And even now, you know, we're in October, he's still working in the garden. He takes paternity leave 1 day in the week now. Okay, battery died, and I completely forgot what I was talking about. Anyway, the garden, it's hard to juggle. I completely understand that. And it's you know, it's not easy keeping on top of the garden and on the indoor plants. So in the spring, summer, every single video she has to bark. Every single video. Maybe I should just bring her inside. No, she's been inside for long. Lexi! Going back to the question, how do we maintain it? So, like I said, I took over, and I took over because I saw that he just wasn't paying enough attention to it, and I honestly just thought that it wouldn't really bother him. But what ended up happening, and this is kind of a little bit of advice that I want to give you if you are also in the same boat and you also have to share a home with another plant enthusiast, is don't just take over, communicate and say what you're going to do before you do it, because I would just go into a tangent and I would start moving things. I definitely have an issue with moving plants around, definitely. But it's because this year I have been focusing more on giving the plant exactly what it needs and not just putting it in a spot because it looks good there. So taking that into mind, you know, that does mean that positioning grow lights and all of that stuff, and a lot of stuff has to move because it is very small down here. But I would just take over and I would move everything, and I would tell Mitch, but it got to a point where he had plants on this side of the room, that corner, like it just, Mitch is someone who very much needs a specific zone area, all in one area that he can keep an eye on, because there is a lot of plants in this room and it can be he gets very, very overwhelmed if it's like in too many spots and areas, which I completely understand. And even the plants that are not in this area now that are technically his, I still keep an eye on them. I still tell him, hey, that one needs water, just so that, you know, I just remind him. And also, of course, in a nice way, because in the beginning I would just get frustrated and say, hey, you're not taking care of your plants. But, you know, having so much on your mind with the garden, working full time. Also, another thing which I think is a key factor is he also works in a garden center, and he's also in charge of the outdoor plants there. So it's all on his shoulders. So I can definitely imagine that coming home, having to take care of indoor plants and outdoor plants, it's a lot, you know, and you can very, very quickly get plant burnout. And I think he probably gets plant burnout every single year because of that, because of his job. And I also had that, you know, I definitely... It's hard that when you're working with plants and then you also have a plant collection, like in your own time, it's a lot, you know, it's a lot to think of. It's a lot to keep in mind. It's just a lot of maintenance. Plants are not just something pretty that you can look at. You know, you got to take care of them. You got to water them. You got to maintain them. You got to, you know, it's not like you're going out and buying some decorations or anything. That's, you know, different. The only thing you have to do with that is dust them every now and then. But it's a lot of maintenance. It's a lot to take in consideration. So that is probably also the reason why I kind of just took over, because I didn't want that burden on his shoulders anymore. I could see that he was struggling with that. But a result of that was that he ended up feeling like I was just taking over, and he didn't have any more motivational energy for his plants because I took over. So definitely, if you're in the same boat, just communicate. Communicate is so incredibly important. And in my case, I didn't do that because I just didn't want to burden him anymore. Was my point of view of the situation. Whereas with him, he was just thinking, oh, she's kind of taking over my plants, or she's moving everything, so I'm just going to let her do her thing. But in long term, that does end up taking your motivation and your energy away. So it is definitely now a case of just communicating, saying, hey, your plants need, like, for example, like I said, I had to treat, he said, I told him about it, and he said, because I was also busy treating some of my plants, he just asked and said, hey, can you take those plants with and also treat them? So, in that sense, I probably said it a million times now, it's a case of communicating and just seeing what works. And it's not a case of, oh, you're going to do it and I'm not going to do anything. Definitely not, because of the situation that we're in with him working full-time, also working with plants in a garden center, also having to take care of the garden. It's just kind of a little bit of a balance that you have to find. And if he's not having any motivation that week to take care of his plants, I will do it. I don't have a problem with that at all. So we've covered on how to manage it, a little tip there that I would definitely take into consideration if you have to share a home with another plant enthusiast. Mitch is definitely not as much of a plant enthusiast as I am. I buy plants almost every single month. He doesn't. I think the last time he bought a houseplant, I don't even remember, if I'm being honest. The last time he got a houseplant was, I think, for Father's Day. So that was in June. And I bought him a Anthurium forgetii. So that was no. Time after that. Yeah, I think that was maybe in August that he bought a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, because he wants to put that on a moss pole. That plant is still living upstairs in the propagation room and just kind of surviving there because he's not had the time to do it. And I could do that for him, but that's like a fun little chore that he can do and kind of keep busy with, and I'm gonna let him do that. So that is kind of the situation between Mitch and I. It's definitely very, very hard for me, I'm not gonna lie, kind of letting go of those plants, because I did for a very long time take care of them. But I was getting to a point where I was struggling with keeping on top of his plants and on top of my plants, especially when pests break out. You've probably heard me talk about this so many times on the channel, but the spider mites this year have been really, really, really bad. And it's also the first year that I've had mealies. I've never had mealies before in my 3-4 years of having houseplants. So that was also a thing that I had to tackle. I didn't have them bad at all. I think I only had them on about 4 or 5 plants, and they're under control now. They're all gone. But having a big collection and pest treating, pest checking, it's a lot of work. And then on top of his plants, there were a lot of plants that I ended up putting on my list of wanting to chop or get rid of. And those were plants that he didn't want to get rid of. Like, I have a plant that's right there. I've talked about this plant before. This is the Rhaphidophora decursiva, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, this was a plant that I wanted to chop up and sell or get rid of or rehome or whatever. But he really, really likes that plant, but he wasn't taking care of it. So it was kind of a little bit of a, okay, rearrange, your plants are here, you take care of them, and just kind of reset, kind of. Sometimes it's a good thing to like reset. This one was living in the corner by the window, and it was just being neglected. The leaves had completely curled up. I'm actually very surprised this plant is still living. But yeah, it's just one of those things that you do have to compromise, because he does have plants that I don't necessarily like, but everyone's tastes are different. And the fact that he does like them, it kind of takes, I don't know, it's made me kind of look at them in a different light sort of thing and kind of like them a little bit more, because before I just didn't like them. But yeah, that's the situation. So I'm going to give you a tour of his plants. I'm going to start off with the plants that are actually not here, that are technically his plants, but he doesn't really, he doesn't remember that they're his plants because of the positioning of them, but they're plants that we can't really move because of the size of them. Yes, I'm going to show you them first. Okay, so we are in the corner here. Yeah, these two, oh wow, there's actually 3 standing here. Okay, there's actually only 1 plant in this corner that is mine, and that is the Philodendron Majestic. That's this one. She's kind of battling. She's coming back from thrips. But yes, there are 3 plants in this corner that are Mitch's. The 2 Splendids. So there's one over there in the corner and then one at the bottom. And then this one on the floor, which you're not really going to be able to see. So I'm going to take it out. But this is also, this one used to actually live in the back room for quite a while, just because of its size. But this, oh, you can't even see all of her. I'm going to move over. You can see. Yeah, this is the Philodendron 69686, and this is also Mitch's plant. I have taken care of this plant many, many times, and I still will. Like I said, I look at his plants, I take care of them if he asks them. He also recently asked me if I could take care of the Splendid because she needs a chop. She had a bad case of I have no idea what. But yeah, she just needs some rehabbing. But this is another plant that is living on the floor in the corner here. And yeah, she's very, very big. Like I said, she lived in the back room for a very long time because of her size. She's actually going to give us a new leaf there, which looks like it's going to be a big one. Jeez. But yeah, that is his plants there. As you can see, the Splendid there in the corner, all the leaves at the bottom are just gone. And this one is also making its way out, but we've chopped it up. We actually did that quite a while ago. And we're going to restart with this top piece. But also she's got some bad damage there of thrips. All my plants on this side of the room had thrips, but it's not bad. Like, it's not bad or anything. She's got a new leaf there, which is, it's been a while since she's given us a new leaf. And this one here at the bottom is actually not really doing anything. Since I did the chop and extend method, she still looked like this. She's been looking like this for a while, actually. I don't know what she's doing, to be honest. Maybe she's working on roots. I have no idea, but that is her. I'm hoping that this is the one that we're going to keep because we're going to end up, I don't know, I'm going to restart this one anyway, but we have a Philodendron Glorious as well that we want to put in this corner, but that one's still a teeny tiny baby. So those are his plants, and no, there's one more plant, and that's that one there. That's the Philodendron Markins, which I also recently chopped actually, and I have propagations living on this shelf there. There are the propagations, because it was getting very, very long. And it's still very, very long. But yeah, that's one that he forgets to water quite a lot. It's looking a little bit curly. It needs water again. And I have said it a couple of times to him, so I will go ahead and water that just because I know that he just forgets. But yeah, that's another plant in this corner that is his. Another plant that is Mitch's, which I still need to tell him where he wants to put this, is the the Alocasia Dragon Moon. Yeah, that's this one. This one's been living out for quite a while. It's not getting enough light because the leaves are going down in size, so we need to move it. I don't really know where he wants to put it. Once this plant, I mean, yeah, it is getting to the point where when we change the volume on the TV, we can't see it because of the leaf. So that is one that is going to be moved. But where Mitch's plants are, which this is his corner. So all of that there, those are all of his plants. Yeah, it doesn't really get enough light there unless we put it in the cabinet. So we need to kind of situate that and have a look. And then we are over here. So these are all of the plants on the shelf. Yeah, just everything you see here, except for the spathiphyllum on the floor there. That one is my plant, but that one doesn't really have a home at the moment. It just kind of lives there, but that's not its permanent spot. It used to live in the bathroom, but the bathroom is kind of being overtaken by bath toys, so I had to bring her down. But yes, that's not really her forever home. I kind of like her there, but I don't know. And also the Alocasia regal shield, but I'm going to take you off the tripod and really bring you in onto the plants. That one actually has one of my regal shields and one of Mitch's. So that one is kind of a shared plant because I put two into one. But he does take care of that one and he does look at that one. So yeah, that is another one that we kind of sort of share. Okay, so starting off here, this is the beautiful... I always get mixed up because when I bought this plant, when Mitch bought this plant, sorry, it said Philodendron Dragontail, but it's actually the Rhaphidophora decursiva, so yeah, whatever. But that's this one. It is so beautiful. It actually used to have an extension. If you follow all of my videos, I extended it in a moss pole maintenance video, I think. But we took that extension off because this plant has been severely neglected. There's actually, that's come off. But no, this is actually all new since we've put her here. But she didn't have any, she kind of just stopped growing for a very long time because she was in the corner. I forgot to water her. I didn't really like this plant anymore. And that means that I forgot her a lot of the times. So, but she's looking good. She lives in semi-hydro. And yeah, I think she's pretty well rooted in here. Let's see if we can have a look. And if we can, no, actually I can't really see much. But yeah, she seems to be quite happy in the spot. She's perked up. She's not curling anymore. So yes, she seems to be happy. And then next up, I'll put the name on screen because I don't remember the name of this. Mitch bought this as a teeny tiny little plant. I think it was probably just the size of that, like what's in my hand. But yeah, it used to be so small and it's so pretty. It has like these purpley, and it's very, very soft. Very, very soft. And it's grown so much. Like, look at that shoot there. This one's also had many different spots. And it's also quite a thirsty one, actually. But yeah, very, very pretty with the purpley leaves. He loves that one. And then we have the, what's this? The blue star fern, which is looking a little bit sparse, to be honest. She, one that also does not like it if you forget to water her. So, but this, like new leaves look so cool. But yeah, she's just living. I had to recently actually water Mitch's plant, so she feels good. But she's definitely a thirsty one, looking a bit sparse, but still very, very pretty. Like those new leaves are stunning. And then this was Mitch's Father's Day present. I'm gonna brighten it up a little bit. I bought this as an Ethereum forgetii, but I honestly don't think it is a forgetii because it's, as you can see, it's not completely round at the top. There are some leaves that almost are, but I don't know. I think this is a hybrid with a forgetii. I don't think this is a pure one, even though I did buy it as a pure one. But yeah, very, very happy here. This is actually the newest leaf it's given us on the shelf because this used to live here on the shelf before we kind of rearranged her a little bit. There was mainly Anthurium on this shelf actually, but I've moved my Anthuriums. And then next to that is the Schefflera Melanie, which also actually seems to be very, very happy in this spot. This is honestly a plant that can survive in high light, low light. She is just thriving and very, very happy. But yeah, this was actually a plant that Mitch chose. We were kind of on the fence, like, is this my plant? Is this his plant? But yeah, I think I would safe to say that this is his plant because I didn't want to buy this. Even though I do love this plant, I think it's so pretty. But yeah, the Schefflera is one of his plants. Next to that, we have a very big Discoria discolor, which surprisingly all of that like green growth, that's all new since she's been here. She's very, very thirsty, very thirsty. I was kind of worried about this plant because before she used to live right in front of the north facing window. So she had a lot of light and she gave us a lot of growth. She was a tiny one leaf cutting not even 4 months ago. And look at her now. She definitely liked having a trellis. But yeah, there's just so much new growth going on. Look at the back there as well. She's going off the trellis because we don't have a trellis big enough now. But she just, I mean, wow, this plant does not stop and seems to be happy in any type of lighting conditions. I mean, right over here, we have a north facing window. And then, yeah, on the other side, we have the south facing window. So yeah, in the middle of the room, they're kind of living. So they're not really getting any like good light, I think. But yeah, she seems to be happy. So, and then this is his Anthurium Silver Blush, which gave us that leaf since it's been here. It's a little bit deformed, but that's because it was pushing up against another leaf when it was coming out. But yeah, this one seems to be really, really happy here. It's been here for quite a while now, actually. I think it's been about 2 months. And very, very happy here. Very, like, beautiful big leaves. This one is just so stunning. So stunning. Yeah, doing very, very well there. Another one, this is the Philodendron Brazil. Also one that I actually gave a chop a little while ago. It was very, very long. But yeah, also seems to be very happy here. This one's also been living on the shelf for quite a while, actually. So it's very happy here. Oh, yeah, these little bits always come off. I always stick them back into the pot. But yeah, seems to be also very, very happy there and getting enough light. I actually just saw that it's given me this full green leaf. This one has very nice, like, coloring on it. Very nice. Very, very pretty. And there's another leaf that's going to be completely neon. I love, like, the neon color in this one. Yeah, very, very happy. Very happy plant. And then this corner. So this has its own grow light. And yeah, this grow light I specifically bought for these 2 plants. So this is Mitch's Crystallinum hybrid. And it's just giving, it's still hardening off. It's just giving us that leaf. Okay, wow. Let's turn down the brightness for that grow light because that's in your face. Yeah, it just gave us that leaf. Big. And it's also given us a huge inflow as well, which I think he wants to, yeah, he really wants to collect pollen and make Anthurium babies. But yeah, this one is in a huge, huge pot and it looks like it's doing something else here. Yeah. But yeah, she also had thrips about a month ago and I treated her and pretty much straight away after that, it gave us that leaf. So also very, very happy there. She has her own little stand because otherwise we're struggling at the moment with our daughter. She puts her hand into the pots and she just, yeah, there's a lot of bark in the mixes and she likes to eat them. So I have to watch her. This one, wow, this latest leaf is huge. This is the Alocasia Regal Shield and there's actually 2 in here. I used to have one and Mitch used to have one and I just potted them up together into the same pot. And I think this biggest one was Mitch's plant. My one is this one. I think that's like the biggest leaf that I had. But yeah, that is the biggest leaf ever that she's ever given us. It's huge. So very, very happy with the grow lights, obviously. Definitely would recommend this. This is a Sansi, I think it's a 34 watt. And this is actually from the IKEA. And it's really nice because it's got like a switch here. I mean, all of this is on, we have an automatic, like it does it all. All of these lights are automatic on this side. So yeah, very, very happy. And they get about 12, what is it? Is it 12 hours or is it 10? I'm not sure. I think it's 12, yeah. And then yeah, down there is the Spathiphyllum Diamond, which is my plant, which just kind of hangs out here. She's been over there. She's lived over there in that corner. She's kind of in the bathroom. It doesn't really have a spot. It just kind of hangs out anyway. And then on top of the cabinet, so this is mine. So this is my little akbar with all of my alocasia propagations that I have in here. Well, not actually all of them anymore. I have a lot more upstairs now, but this is how I started off. And it's getting very, very full in there again. I have a lot of alocasia in there. But yeah, this is living on here because there's nowhere else in the house where I could put this and it like actually be efficient and easy to use. Like here, I can open it up properly. Oh, there's a leaf popping out there. And before it was just, it's a bit difficult. So that's what he said, that I could keep this here because there's not really anywhere else in the house that I can keep this. But next to it is his philodendron. I'm gonna have to turn down. There we go. The philodendron Prince of Orange. This was also a plant that I just don't like, if I'm being honest. What is that? Oh no, that's just dust. Okay. Yeah, this is one that I also don't like, but he likes it. And it does kind of fit into like the autumn vibes with the orange. It's just one that the leaves always get stuck. The leaves come out like a little bit like deformed, just not, yeah, it's just not an easy plant. But the new leaves that come in are very, very pretty. But yeah, it's also not really grown that much since we've had it. So I think he's had it for about a year now and it's not grown a lot at all. But yeah, that's the philodendron Prince of Orange. And then back here, so Mitch is godfather of his sister's daughter. And this was a present from her. I don't know what this is called. I'll put the name on screen. But it has this like bulb thing. And then all these like, I don't know, I kind of like it. It's pretty cool. And yeah, got a cute little pot with her on it. It's a very pretty plant. Definitely like it. But also one that he does forget to water a lot. But it's a very, very forgiving plant, I can tell you that. And then over here, what is this? The mojito. I'll put the full name on screen. It's a peperomia, I think, or pilia. I don't know. But yeah, here in Belgium we call it the pancake plant. That's what I keep on thinking of. But the actual name, I'll put it on screen anyway. But this is the mojito one, and yeah, the variegation is not really that obvious on this one, but it's not doing very well. It keeps on giving us this like misformed leaf, so we've given it its own grow light and hopefully it will bounce back from that. It is making a baby at the bottom here. But yeah, I also just don't think the mix that she's in, that she really likes it. I don't know. This has been a bit of a difficult one, to be honest, compared to the regular one. That one grew like crazy for us. So yeah, I don't know, a bit of a difficult one, but yeah, we're trying our best with that. I'm maybe thinking maybe I should put her into like semi-hydro. I don't know, but this like weird growth, I don't know. She's not had this grow light for that long, so giving her time. But last off in the cabinets, which is not a lot actually. This is like the overall view. But we have wow, I don't know what this is called. Nepenthes? Is that what it is? It's not looking very good, like at all. It's not, yeah, it's not looking very good at all. He forgot to, see, it's dry again. Can you hear that crunch? Jeez. Yeah, Ben, he was on top of watering for a very, very long time and then he wasn't. And obviously with these plants, they need moisture all of the time. So unfortunately, and also he did have thrips and I can see them crawling on here. I can still see them. I can see larvae on there. It could also be a reason why she's not doing very well. Yeah, I treated his whole cabinet last week, so can you see them? Can you see them? The larvae. I don't know, it's also obviously a very sticky plant, but yeah, I had to treat all of these plants in his cabinet. So they've all been treated for thrips. So I'm looking a little bit worse for wear. But over here, this is, I think, a crystallinum. Oh, see that leaf. Very, very sad. What is this? Crystallinum magnificum. Yes, that's what that one is. Yeah, it's unfortunate of that leaf, but you know, thrips are buggers when it comes to new leaves. But yeah, that's a Crystallinum magnificum that we got on a second-hand website. And these are all babies from them. He did this a couple of weeks ago. They were all in a prop box. And yeah, they're doing well. There's like leaves here that are starting to show, you know, that like veining a little bit. So that is positive. There is unfortunately a very sad colocasia. I don't know which one it is. But yeah, colocasias kind of go dormant this time of year. So he's trying to keep it alive because they are very, very pretty, but they do tend to just go dormant in the fall, winter. So yeah, that is normal. Then over here we have his Villanorum, is that what it's called? I don't know. But very, very pretty. Look at that leaf. That is stunning. That leaf could probably be taken off. Yeah, needs to be taken off. Is she working on a new leaf there? Is that a new leaf? No, that was an old leaf. Yeah, this one is very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. That leaf is stunning. But yeah, that's that one. He recently also repotted it. Yeah, we had like a plant care day and he took care of a lot of his plants. But there is like a little bit of damage on his anthuriums from the thrips, which is always a bugger. This one, I've talked about this plant before. So this was actually what was labeled as a Rockrianum seedling. It's clearly not a Rockrianum. I think it's just some type of crystallinum. We'll never really know the ID of this plant. But yeah, there's actually two in here. Yeah, there's two in here. As you can see, also a lot of damage from the thrips, but she gave him a new leaf there though, so that's good. But yeah, this is some type of crystallinum, I think. Ooh. The thrips are such buggers. So yeah, that one needs to come back a little bit because of the damage, but you know, that's normal. But it's sad that this one was labeled as an Anthurium rockrianum seedling, and this is what came out of it. You know, clearly not. And that seedling was expensive. That was like 22 euros for a seed. So that was very, very disappointing. But, you know, I suppose it can happen, you know. This one, I think this is one of his more recent. I'm going to turn it so you can see the size of this. This is his Vitrifolium. That's the latest leaf. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it's opening up a new leaf here. What is that marking there? Okay, I was just checking that that wasn't mealies because it's white. I don't know what that would be. But yeah, there's a new leaf there. That's a new leaf. So yeah, that's very, very positive. This one was actually living on top of here so that it could trail. That's how we had it. But I watered last week as well for him. So yeah. Love that one as well. Also one that I spend a lot of time staring at. I love strappy anthuriums, and this is our first one, and I can see a lot of roots on the outside there actually. That's really positive. That's good. I repotted this one as well actually in a video. But yeah, that's what that one's looking like. This one looking very sad. Yeah, that one might go dormant. Also one that just, I think also thrips are having a good go to. But yeah, they can also, oh, actually, that's new growth there. We'll see. She's bouncing back from something. Definitely underwatering and also thrips, I think. I think Mitch had thrips in his cabinet for quite a while. And we just weren't on top of it. This is his Philodendron White Princess, which he also recently repotted. Yeah. Looking really good. It doesn't have a lot of, he actually got this from his work. It came in like a mixed tray with baby plants, but that leaf is stunning. It's very, very pretty. But also I can see coming back from thrips. Yeah, the thrips really had a good go in here. And then this plant, okay, that's really weird. Oh, that's water buildup. Oh my word. It's like in the leaf. If I squeeze on the leaf, water comes out. I've never seen that before. Yeah, that's his philodendron silver sword. Oh, I love this plant. Also one that I stare at on a regular basis. The thrips actually did not have any go at this one, which we actually had to restart this plant because of the thrips. So she's looking good and she's coming back. But she does have some edema, I can see on the leaf there at the bottom. And yeah, that leaf here, if I squeeze on it, water comes out. So that's definitely edema. Oh, she's standing in water. That's not good. Okay, let's do some move in here because they are standing in water. I'll leave that water standing. It can be, you know, some extra humidity. But yes, that is his cabinet. Another plant that he actually really wants is really wants a Anthurium rockrianum, but I actually ended up purchasing one a couple of days ago, so that is going to be coming. But I'm going to keep that in plants that I'm going to take care of. So just because he's been struggling with his plants, as you can see, I can see he's slowly starting to get back into them. Like he did these 3 and all that, and he repotted some of them. So he is being on top of his plants, but I've also wanted a rockrianum for such a long time. So I went ahead and ordered that. So I think that's going to be a little bit more of like a shared plant. I will give it a spot that he can also appreciate and love. But yeah, those are his plants. Doing okay, like I said, coming back from the thrips a little bit. They did struggle, but you know, pests are just part of it. But I think overall they look pretty good. I love this leaf. It's very, very pretty. Yeah, he does love his anthuriums. Another anthurium that he really wants is Anthurium regale, which is also one that I really, really want. But yeah, that is his cabinet. Preferably would like a lot more plants in here. And I know I also said that I wanted to do a revamp of this cabinet, but he ended up doing it on his own. And I really like that he did that because I was going to end up using like half of the cabinets for alocasia. But we ended up doing a lot in the propagation room where I could have a lot more room for my alocasia. So, you know, it's best that he has his own cabinet, I think, just for himself. And I really love what he's done here with the string that this one's hanging. I think that's really good, but I do need to water that. So I'm going to do that for him and tell him. But yeah, that is his cabinet. He also has a bigger fan. I have like the smaller versions in my cabinet, but he has a bigger fan there. And this is the Mother Life Plant Spectrum 32 that he has in here. And yeah, he also has another one of these, which is the same as my one. So that is the humidity and temperature at the moment. But yes. So that is Mitch's collection and kind of the situation on how we manage sharing the space. Like I said, it's definitely a bit of a challenge, and I have found it quite difficult not to like interfere with his plants. But, you know, they're his plants and he can do with them what he wants. And it's also really nice to see when he does get into it and he like does repotting, and it's really nice to see, especially when we can do it together. So I'm glad he's kind of like getting back into it and, you know, kind of dipping his feet back into it and knowing that, you know, I will definitely help him. And I help him and be on top of it, because you can't, like if you have a bad week, you can't necessarily skip a watering or anything like that, or skip care for the plants, which is kind of one of the downsides to having plants, is if you're having a bad week or something comes up or anything like that, or like if we have a week of us being sick or if the kids are sick, you know, it's just, you still have to take care of them, otherwise they will just die. So it is, you know, that is the challenging side of plant care. But I'm really proud of him being on top of it, and I'm actually very, very happy that he has like his own corner. And even though there are some plants there in the corner, still those plants are in the corner there, and I can just remind him, and he does water them sometimes, but most of the time he will ask me and I will end up doing it, but he'll still know, you know, okay, they've been watered, they've been taken care of. So he doesn't have to worry about that. So yes, that is how we manage and how it kind of works, the dynamic. We've actually never really had any like arguments about it. I can imagine that sometimes it can be, you know, plants can take up a lot of space and can maybe bring up topics that can end up in an argument. But I think him saying that he felt like that I was taking over, that wasn't an argument. It was more of like a conversation that kind of made a bell go off in my head of, okay, I need to handle things in a different way. And giving his own corner, his own space, it's also kind of taken the pressure off me, and it's made plant care for me be a lot easier. I've noticed the last couple of weeks, because we did this a couple of weeks ago, that I've been on top of my plant care a lot more. I've been taking care of plants that I've just kind of been putting off, and I've had time to do more things. So it's really a balancing act, and it's, you know, you kind of learn as you go along. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope, yeah, like I said, leave a comment down below if you're kind of in the same situation, if you're sharing a home or a space with another plant enthusiast, how you manage that, how you deal with it, who takes up more of the space. I 100% take up more of the space, but that's just because I have more plants, and he's completely okay with that, because he has his own space and it's organized and it's all together, and it just, yeah, I guess, you know, organization with plants is nice, even though sometimes it can just be chaos, because the jungle is never 100% organized. But at the moment, it does actually feel like it is. But yes, let me know in the comments down below if you're in the same situation or how you do it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. It's just a click of a button and it really helps me out. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.